Hey, welcome to our channel. How are you guys? Hope you all are fine. If you like our videos, then share with your friends and don't forget to subscribe our channel.
Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra test. A little too big, a little too expensive for Samsung. Bigger is often better. The company pioneered the huge smartphone ubiquity that most of us use today. So it's no wonder the company has been making some surprisingly large tablets lately. This year's Galaxy Tab S9 series includes 11-inch and 12.4-inch models that are compatible with Apple's two iPad Pros. And while the $1,200 Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra is a behemoth at 14.6 inches, it's thin and light for its size. Android tablets have long been difficult to sell because relatively few developers tried to optimize their apps for the larger screen. And a tablet of this size doesn't fit perfectly in your hand. These facts were at the forefront of my mind when I was trying to think about whether someone should buy the S9 Ultra. Despite my skepticism, Samsung's giant tablet managed to surprise me with its usefulness in some specific cases. Advantage: nice screen, great speakers, powerful hardware's pen response is very fast. DeX mode is an incredibly powerful multitasking interface. Cons: too many Android apps aren't designed for big screens. The screen is large, so it feels heavy when you hold it in your hand. Expensive hardware: when I took the S9 Ultra out of the box, I immediately noticed how slim its footprint was. It's only 0.21 inches thick and weighs 1.6 pounds. In typical Samsung fashion, the tablet feels perfectly solid and well-built. Sure, it's just a big sheet of glass and metal, but what could Samsung reasonably do to innovate here? The tablet form factor is pretty much set at this point. Most importantly, Samsung has made the device thin enough that it doesn't feel fragile. This is backed up by his IP68 waterproof and dustproof certification for the S9 Ultra. According to Samsung, this is the first Galaxy S tablet to receive this rating. This was a pretty big issue when companies started making waterproof phones, but the need for it doesn't seem to be as great here. However, if you prefer to watch movies in the bathtub, don't worry, submerging your tablet in water won't instantly destroy it. The S9 Ultra features a huge 14.6-inch AMOLED touchscreen. Its 2960 by 1848 resolution and 16:10 aspect ratio are great for watching movies, but too large to comfortably use in portrait mode. That complaint aside, it looks great, with very bright, vibrant colors and up to 120 Hz refresh rate, and it also supports HDR10, which makes watching movies even more beautiful. Samsung is known for its mobile displays, and the S9 Ultra's display is also a great product. Samsung has also managed to include good speakers in the S9 Ultra, making it a good overall choice for watching movies and series while isolating with COVID, for example. I'm not sure how companies are able to manufacture such robust speakers on ultra-thin devices, but I'm glad to see this becoming more common on high-end tablets like this one, as well as the iPad Pro. There are a few other things to consider when it comes to the S9 Ultra. On the long side of the display are two front-facing cameras, a standard camera and an ultra-wide-angle camera, both with 12-megapixel sensors. The screen has a small notch to create space. It's so small that I almost forgot about it, but it's there. On the back, there's a 13-megapixel standard camera and an 8-megapixel ultra-wide option. The front camera works well for some Google Meet calls I've made with this device, and the rear camera is also available. But taking photos on a tablet is ridiculous, especially on a device this large. As I always say, keep your phone in your pocket. There's a magnetic strip on the back that holds and charges the included S Pen stylus. It's not the most intuitive place to store the S Pen, nor is it the easiest place to find when you want to take it out and put it back. However, I quickly got used to it and the pen stuck firmly to the back of her S9 Ultra. Tablet mode: since the S9 Ultra doesn't come with a keyboard case, we initially decided to use this huge device as a pure tablet. It was not my favorite experience. First, let me point out some good points. The S9 Ultra's screen is great, as are its speakers, making it a great portable cinema. And the S9 Ultra's aspect ratio meant that most of the content I watched nearly filled the entire display. The S9 Ultra is better equipped for more demanding tasks than watching movies. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, paired with 12 GB of RAM in the model I tested, is powerful enough for virtually everything I tried. Running Adobe Lightroom has been a great experience. Because on one side there's plenty of space for different tools, and on the other you'll see a huge, detailed preview of everything you're doing. Samsung does not provide battery life estimates, but in tablet mode he got well over 11 hours of use, and the device lasted several days in standby mode. You don't need to charge it often unless you use it for many hours every day. Another use case for the S9 Ultra is as an artist's canvas. The S Pen is a great pen, and Samsung has years of experience optimizing its performance. The S Pen's responsiveness is incredibly high, with the company saying the lag has been reduced to 2.8 milliseconds, and we didn't notice any lag at all during our tests. I'm not a visual artist, so I haven't been able to push the limits of the S Pen or various Android software, but the combination of the low-latency pen and the S9 Ultra's huge screen makes for one powerful device. If you find the right software, it can be a tool for visual artists. Unfortunately, the sheer size and width of the S9 Ultra means it wasn't the best for other content consumption. First off, the tablet clearly wasn't designed to be used in portrait mode, it's just too tall. This is a problem I've found with other Android tablets that use similar aspect ratios, but most of those had smaller screens that are a little more manageable. That's not the case here, and it just feels downright odd to use. Elements at the top are too far away to comfortably interact with, things are marginally better in landscape mode, but the main issue with the S9 Ultra is the fact that there still aren't a lot of Android apps suited to such large screens. Some apps, like Instagram, would only open in portrait orientation, while others like Slack simply have too much wasted white space. Google has done a great job of making its own apps look pretty great on tablets, and a handful of other key apps I use like Spotify and Todoist are also well adapted. But the S9 Ultra just isn't designed for things most people use tablets for, like browsing, messaging, sending emails, playing games and so forth. If that's what you're interested in, the 11-inch Galaxy Tab S9 will be a more comfortable device to use that also costs less. The S9 Ultra is proudly a niche device, and you'll want to know exactly how to use it before buying one. DeX mode reminded me a lot of using a Chromebook. There's a navigation bar at the bottom that shows any open app, and you can pin things there to get back to them quickly. As this is an Android tablet, all the apps you have access to here come from the Google Play Store or Samsung's own App Store. Historically, the main issue with Android tablets is how few Android apps are built to take advantage of bigger screens, and that's still the case now, but, since DeX lets you resize any app, you can make things fit properly in Windows without wasting space. For example, the Slack app still doesn't have a left-hand sidebar on Android, unlike on desktop or iPadOS. That's annoying, but at least I can make Slack narrower, like a phone-sized app that doesn't have a ton of wasted white space. And apps that do have multi-column interfaces, like basically all of Google's first-party software, are downright pleasant to use. My main complaint with the S9 Ultra in DeX mode is the fact that Chrome for Android isn't quite as capable as the desktop version. That lets you use extensions, has more features and more reliably renders sites the way you'd expect. Most things render well, but you may also end up getting tossed into a version of the site designed for mobile phones, not huge tablets. But one unexpected bright spot was discovering that I could run the full web version of Slack in Chrome, an experience that's a lot better than using the Android app. Battery life is a bit worse in DeX mode, which wasn't a huge surprise given how many apps I was quickly jumping between. The tablet lasted for around 6 hours when I was using it as my full-time work device. Not terrible, but worse than a lot of similarly priced laptops. Despite the number of intriguing use cases I found for the S9 Ultra, it's a niche device that won't make sense for most people, largely because of the price. That's not a bad thing. Niche devices exist for a reason, and some people will be well served by this massive tablet. But $1,200 for the S9 Ultra, plus $200 for the keyboard case, or $350 if you want an integrated trackpad, is a ton of money to spend unless you have very specific ideas on how you'll use this tablet. It doesn't make sense for me, as I prefer a smaller tablet that I can easily use handheld and then drop into a keyboard case for getting work done. Still, for some, the combo of DeX mode, a keyboard, and the S9 Ultra's big, beautiful screen might make sense. Most people would be better off spending their money on a different device, though. As impressed as I am with DeX, you can easily get a laptop that can run far more software for less money. And while I think the iPad is a better choice for most people looking for a tablet, those who prefer Android should consider Samsung's own 11 and 12.4-inch Galaxy Tab S9 and S9 Plus, as they offer basically the same specs, high-quality design, and excellent screens for less cash. But if you're interested in having a massive tablet with a great stylus and solid productivity chops, the S9 Ultra might be worth opening your wallet for.